What is up, guys? This is Max Square, and today we're going to be taking a look at an application called GoodTask. Now, this is an app that allows you to manage your reminders, pretty much any tasks, projects that you have going on, and it's very similar to the default reminders app for iOS and for Mac. But just before we get started, I'd like to thank the developers for giving me a free copy of this app, so thanks for that. And while we're talking about them, let's go ahead and take a look at their awesome website. It's very clean, minimalistic, and I think they did a great job of presenting the app. And on top of that, they also allow you to download the press kit, which includes all of the icons, screenshots, all that kind of stuff. And this was really helpful for me when I was putting together the review and all the graphics that I needed. So props to you guys for keeping that all organized and very accessible to your customers and viewers. So now let's take a look at the app. So you'll see here that I have my iPhone just with a little simulator here, just reflecting it or mirroring it to my display. And then I have the Mac app right next to it. So they're very similar in styling, as you would expect, as they are the same app. But generally when you're going between operating systems like Mac and then iOS, it's kind of hard to keep that consistent. So they did a really good job with staying consistent with their design. So like I said, you can add your reminders, and to do that you can just go here and click the plus icon here, the bottom left. You can set your priority to no priority, 1, 2, and 3 if it's very important, and then you can just type in the name of your task. Now, GoodTask does a really good job of keeping your default reminders and your calendar as well as your contacts all in sync. So this will import any of your current lists or tasks that was in the default reminders app straight into GoodTask. Now you can set which list you want it to go on. So I'll put this on Max Square and just say review. And then I can drop this down and add an alarm, a repeat, location, and some other notes, and a website if I would like. Once you're done with that, you can just hit the little enter and it'll pop up in your list. So they've added a whole bunch of shortcuts so that you can easily just create a new task, and you can see that it has just popped up on my iOS device on the right. So you can create a new task by just using the shortcut Command N. It'll pop up in its little window, and they'll step you through a bunch of little shortcuts when you open up the app with their default tasks here. One cool feature about the Mac app is that they have a pin to the top so that you can bring something maybe like a Finder window and it'll stay on top, or if you want to take it off, you'll see that it goes behind the current window that you're working on. Now, the app can go into full screen, however, because it is at a fixed width, which means you cannot make it any wider than it is right now, it'll simply just kind of go from the top to the bottom, but it won't go any wider than what you see here. Now, if we take a look at the iOS app on the right here, you'll notice that it's very similar in design, but we do have tabs at the bottom rather than on the left. Now, again, this is very organized, and you can see that at the top I have all my dates here. And if I click on month, it'll show me a nice split view of my calendar and the tasks. If you go to the main list view, you can scroll to the right to go to your updated tasks or your reoccurring, and then each of your lists. You do have some preferences, which include adding a preset or default setting, such as when you create a new task, you can set a default time and when it reminds you, stuff like that. You can also, on the iOS app, adjust to a night mode, and you can have this scheduled or you can just do it manually. And this is actually a really nice design. I do prefer the default white clean look, but you may like the other view a little more than I do, but it is very nice when you're reading or adding tasks at night. On top of adding a night mode, you can also change the font size from default or large. So if you are reading at night and you can't see it, or if you don't want to put your glasses on, something like that, it's very easy to change that. You can also add the app icon badge, and there's tons of other settings here that I'm not going to get into, but you can customize a lot of the app that you see here. Before I move on, you can also manage the lists that stay in sync between your default reminders app. So if I didn't want Max Square or personal or something like that, then you can remove that from the sync list, if you will. And you can also add a new list and give it a color here. Overall, the design of the app is very clean, and I really do like the way they've put everything together, especially when you want to add a new task on iOS. You simply just have to drag down and it'll pop up with a nice white input, and you can just enter in your task, so task 1, and you can see as I'm typing, the two options will appear at the bottom here. We can go to details or add more, so you can add another task. So if I said task 2, or if I go to details, then I can customize that with the priority, the list, and the location, and some other options again. Now before we go rate the app, I would like to say that this app is a little pricey. On Mac it's $10 or $9.99, and on iOS it's $4.99. Now they do a great job with the design and keeping everything in sync, but the thing is, if you're already comfortable with how the default reminders is working, then there's no need for you to switch. I actually do like how well the app performs, and the design is really nice, as I have mentioned quite a few times. But if you're not one of those people that use reminders that often, then it's not one of those apps that you have to go buy. It's more of a kind of pro level, in my opinion. If you do download the app, you may have a completely different opinion, but that's kind of the view that I had when I first started messing around with it. And now it is time to rate the app. So for concept, I gave the app a 4 out of 5, capability 5 out of 5. As I said, you can do quite a few things with this app. And for compliance, I gave 5 out of 5, customization a 4 out of 5, and then cost a 3 out of 5. This leaves GoodTask with a total score of 21 out of 25, or in other terms, a great rating. So that is it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you to hahainteractive.co for sending me a free copy of this app, both on Mac and iOS. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.